doing here? No video today. Go home. You still here? Look, I was going to play the Switch all day, but you guys clearly wanted a video, so let's take a look at the Zelda cartoon. Yeah, since, well, I'm playing Zelda on the Switch.
The Legend of Zelda TV series was a short-lived TV show made by the ever-so-famous Dig Entertainment. Made in 1989, and while it only ran for one season and only had like 13 episodes in total, people often glance over it quickly and most of the time just tells you it's bad, without even trying to justify anything.
Yeah, and that is what we're going to look at today. Whether or not this show is complete garbage, or if there is just a tiny bit of good in it.
So let's start out with the most important thing first, the story. Well, a great place to start is probably with the opening theme.
This is the Triforce of Wisdom, Link. The evil wizard Ganon has the Triforce of Power. Whoever gets both Triforces will rule this land forever.
Already a flaw, 2 Triforces. Let's remember the game, shall we? And by that, I mean the first and second one, since the others weren't made yet.
The Triforce has always been, well, 3 pieces, therefore tri.
It's not Twin Force, is it?
Okay, as you heard, the story plot mainly focuses on Link, Zelda and Ganon, trying to get each other's Triforce piece, and whoever has both pieces will rule forever. A simple concept really, just like the game, so to say.
Look, I know the Zelda universe has a wide and massive story and lore, but really, if you cut it down, it's just evil Ganon, get Triforce, save Princess. Whether or not that is in the new one, I'm not that far yet.
Most of the episodes was focused around either getting the Triforce or protecting the other. Really, it's sort of like capture the flag. But is this a good thing that the story is sort of shallow and easy to follow? Well, in some aspects yes, and others no. It's good since it's easy to follow, and yeah, even the smallest kids can probably see what they are going for. And it's bad for the very same reason. It's too easy to follow. There's really no challenges in this for any ages whatsoever. The only challenges there is when they refer to the game. But let's talk about that later.
Instead, let's talk about the protagonist and antagonist.
The protagonist is of course Link and Princess Zelda. And unlike a lot of princesses like Peach and, well, other princesses where there's no king or queen around, the king is actually in the show.
Finally! Someone gets it right!
But let's return to the king later. Zelda is, well, on one side she's the strong independent woman who can take care of herself in battle and, well, princess stuff. And other times she's the damsel in distress.
Sort of like the games really, like in Ocarina of Time where she's chic and can kick ass, but gets captured when she reveals she's, in fact, Zelda. Or Hyrule Warriors where she can really kick ass, with mild female-friendly weapons. It still counts.
Overall, Zelda is actually a decent character for Dig Entertainment standards. Now let's talk about Ganon, an evil wizard who... well, he looks sort of okay, a bit scrawny compared to the original Ganon. And well, he is a pig monster, so he isn't even Ganondorf. That aside, his voice sounds like Skeletor if it was cracking.
One of the greatest spells of the ancient wizards, and now it's mine!
But like you know, Ganon is evil and wants both Triforces to take over the world.
Of course!
Well, most of the time anyway. The other times his plans is to marry Zelda and kiss her?
And perhaps a little kiss.
Let's just say he is skipping through a lot of plans.
And he doesn't like to walk either, since he teleports one Abra.
So what is his motive for being evil?
For a few reasons really. First reason, it was made in the 80s, they didn't care about evil origins or anything like that. Second reason, they just hope and pray that you played the games before so you already know it.
And to be completely fair, a lot of 80s and 90s kids did. Well, apart from me that first got introduced to gaming and Zelda through the 64 Ocarina of Time.
Not to make my backstory too long, it's not entirely true. I started playing Link's Awakening, and then I played Ocarina of Time. And believe it or not, my first introduction to the Zelda universe was in fact this show. Yeah, and I watched it as much as I could as a child.
Well, nevertheless, Ganon in this show is pretty damn shallow, even for villains. Well, I think King Koopa or Bowser from the Mario Super Show is worse, since he's all over the places with pop cultural references, but you know what I mean. And let's move on to Link. Oh my dear jolly Saint Nicholas Christ, Link is nothing like the games. At all. He's a wisecrack who talks way too much and has the hots for Zelda. Granted, I had that too, almost any incantations really.
Back to Link. He talks. Yeah, big problem. Link is the silent hero. He shouldn't be talking. But to be fair, he is not as annoying as the CDI version.
Great! I can't wait to bomb some Dodongos!
Well, back in the NES SNES era, Link didn't talk since it was just how heroes were in the games back then. And text dialogue was not that common in many games really. It's first in Ocarina of Time Link gets the title Silent Swordsman, so you should excuse them.
Which reminds me, Link has a catchphrase.
Hey! Excuse me, princess!
And he says it all the fucking time.
Apart from being the legendary hero, Link is living in the castle and is rather annoyed by it.
Now look at me, living in a castle, sleeping in a bed. Aren't I sweet? Yeah!
Had it not been for Zelda, which he keeps trying to kiss, he would have lived long ago. And also he's immature, lazy and really not that great in combat. But at the time, this was a popular stigma to use for heroes trying to get hip with the kids. Like Mikey in TMNT and Robin in Batman. Only problem, it rarely worked at all. Kids knew it was dumb, but they didn't watch the show for those people anyway.
The problem in this show, they made the hip and cool character one of the main characters with a big role. Fail.
Okay, time to justify what's good in this. The art style is nice, better than Super Mario Super Show anyway. It's a typical Western 80s art style for cartoons for the time. And I have to say, in some places they were creative and others, not so much. Some monsters are really great and good looking, while some not so much. But what is really good is the backdrops. They are great and colorful, for the most part. Ganon's castle, which looks like a decaying Castle Grayskull, are where the art style's glory ends. It's just terrible.
To put it simply, Hyrule, stunning. Underworld, not so much.
Again with the Underworld, why not straight up call it Hell?
Okay, let's move on.
As many other dick shows, it got flaws, some due to time restraints, others due to low budget. And some probably because they didn't care that much. Like in the water park episode, they forgot to put in the monster's claws in a scene. And you can also see it on the lack of animation in basically any episode really.
That was character and animation. Now let's take a look at how true to the games they are.
A lot of enemies are sort of recognizable, like the Goma, Moblins and the Stalfos. Then we get the Gibdo, which for some reason they decided to make female in this show.
You don't like my charms anymore?
It's for a joke in the show. Really, there's actually no other explanation.
And some mechanics from the game also shows up, like Link's zapping sword, the hit detection thing.
2 zaps! One more in your history, Ganon!
And they even created an explanation for the infinite bag Link carries around.
But to make a video game and a TV show are two completely different things, and changes needs to be made. As much as I hate them, they are necessary.
Like writing the king into the show. By the way, that king is so damn goofy and weird that he just cracks me up every time.
Good show! Good show! What was your name again?
And honestly, some things from this show actually made it into the games later on. Like the arrows of light Zelda uses in one episode, and the fact that Zelda mainly uses bows.
Link, the bow!
Or mistakes weapons for other weapons. Seriously, that is a crossbow.
That reminds me, since it is Dig Entertainment, they also make a lot of errors in the voiceover department, like calling out wrong monsters. Switch. In words. And of course, the coloring department is not without flaws either. Actually, those guys were the ones I spotted most flaws with. Like Zelda's changing clothes mid-episode.
Don't you ever do that again without telling me!
So, is this show really that bad after all we've just seen? Yes. It's extremely dated and painful to watch.
But to be fair, it's not the worst Dig has come up with, and I would say from memory, it's one of their better shows. It's certainly way better than the Super Mario Super Show.
I know people like it, but really, it's strange, crazy, incoherent, and just plain out bad written.
And so is this show, though not as much. I would say if you haven't seen the show yet, maybe give it a watch if for nothing else than to laugh at how bad it's made.
So that was Zelda the TV show. I'm the Angrynator. I'm terminating bad movies for you know the rest. Can I play the Switch now?
Oh well, at least I still have a job.